guys, welcome back to another video, and today we have the event for Monster Jam sign-up series number 206. So before we get things started, I am going to show you guys the field of trucks. So that's what you guys are looking at right now. So just look for your name, and then you can see which truck you are in. So for this sign-up series, I got a total of 86 sign-ups, which is pretty good. I mean, it's a little bit worse than what I usually do, because I think for the last sign-up series, there was 100 sign-ups, but 86 is still solid. So like I said, just look for your name, and then you can see which truck you're in, and then after I'm done showing the field of trucks, I will show you guys all of the races as well as the track setup, and then after that we will jump right in to round 1 of racing. So here's the final page of all of the names right here with all the competitors. Like I said, there's 86 trucks. So this is the final page, ending it off with Patrick the MJ fan and the Inverse Northern Nightmare. So that is the field of trucks, and now let's take a look at all of the races, if I can get it to focus better. So right here will be the first race of round number 1, and then we will just go down this row right here. Now here's a look at the second row. Got a lot of debuting trucks in this sign-up series. Pretty much every single truck in this series for mix 14 and 15 is in their debut. Not all of them were picked. I think there's maybe 3 of them that were not picked, or that I didn't give to the people that said any, but most of the mix 14 and 15 trucks are in this event. So here's a look at the final row and the longest row right here. And round number 1 will be ending it off with a fire and ice battle between Fire, Gravedigger, and Yeti. So now let's take a look at the track. The track is pretty much the same as always, but just in case you guys are new to my sign-up series, I will show it. So of course, as always, we're going to be using the show-off showdown ramp, so the trucks will go down this way. And now at the very end over here, we have my laptop with a carded Max D 5-pack, and then a few trucks in a line right here. So basically, if both trucks hit this line, whoever hits it first will advance. And if they hit it at the same time, we will do a rerun. That does happen from time to time, but not too often. And both trucks hitting this line happens, I would say, maybe 25% of the time. So, I mean, it's not super likely, but when it happens, whoever hits it first will advance. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. So without further ado, we're going to kick things off with me and Queen Bee taking on the Nitro Neon's Jurassic Attack. So sign-up series 206 is underway. And the first winner is going to be the Nitro Neon's Jurassic Attack. Next up, we have Scooby-Doo taking on the Ice Soldier Fortune. And Scooby-Doo is going to take the win. Soldier Fortune didn't even hit the line, so Scooby-Doo will advance. Next up, we have the Zombie Monster Mutt taking on the Ride Truck Blue Thunder. And they both flip over, and Zombie Monster Mutt is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Mix 12 Aftershock taking on the Training Truck Zombie. And Training Truck Zombie is going to take the win over the Mix 12 Aftershock. Next up, we have the Nitro Neon Zombie taking on the Elemental Dragon. And Elemental Dragon is actually the first truck making his debut, and he is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Ride Truck Gravedigger taking on the Zombie Blue Thunder. And Gravedigger hit the line first. That was a really close race, but if you go back and take a look, you can tell that Gravedigger hit it first, so he will take the win. But I believe we do need a fast loser in this round, so Zombie Blue Thunder could potentially be in it. Next up, we have Big Kahuna taking on Monster Mutt Poodle. And they almost hit me, but they didn't. And just barely, it's going to go to Monster Mutt Poodle. You can see his tire is sticking out. Next up, we have the second debuting truck in this event, Maximum Destruction, and he is taking on Wildflower. And Maximum Destruction on the ramp kind of cut into Wildflower's lane, and then he ends up blocking Wildflower to take the win. Next up, we have Salvager taking on the Red Crustacean. And Crustacean is going to take the win over Salvager. Next up, we have the reigning championship truck, Texas, and he is taking on another fast truck, Fire Max D. And Max D hit the line first, so Fire Max D is going to defeat the past champion. Next up, we have Jurassic Attack taking on the debuting Black Pearl. And Jurassic Attack is going to take the win over Black Pearl. Next up, we have the Creatures Megalodon taking on Superman. And Megalodon rolls over early. Superman turned, but as you can clearly see, Superman will take the win. Next up, we have Ice Octonator taking on the Holiday Stunt Truck. And it looks like Ice Octonator is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Inverse Alien Invasion taking on Florida. And Alien Invasion is going to block Florida for the win. Next up, we have the Red Bakugan Dragonoid taking on Mohawk Warrior Vampire. And Mohawk Warrior Vampire is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Hunter Son of a Digger taking on Soldier Fortune. And Soldier Fortune is going to take the win. As you can see, Son of a Digger didn't even hit the laptop because his tire got stuck right there in between Soldier Fortune's. So Soldier Fortune will take the win. Next up, we have the Overcast Max D taking on the Ride Truck Megalodon. And it looks like Overcast Max D is going to take the win in his debut. Next up, we have a Fire and Ice battle between Ice Earthshaker and Fire Whiplash. And Earthshaker flips over early, and that's going to give the win to Whiplash. Next up, we have Wolf's Head taking on the Ice Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And Wolf's Head flips over, and that's going to give the win to the Ice Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Next up, we have Nomad Avenger taking on the Overcast Earthshaker. And Nomad Avenger is going to take the win. Next up, we have the regular Avenger taking on the Reckless El Toro Loco. And Avenger flips over. I don't know why so many trucks from this lane have been flipping over, but nonetheless, that will give the win to the Reckless El Toro Loco. Next up, we have the Training Trucks Gravedigger taking on the debuting Inverse Northern Nightmare. And it looks like... oh, that is a tough call to make. Let's go straight down. And it looks like just barely Northern Nightmare is going to take the win. Gravedigger's turn costed him. Next up, we have the Boneyard Pirate's Curse taking on Monster Mutt Dalmatian. And Monster Mutt Dalmatian is going to defeat the debuting Boneyard Pirate's Curse. Next up, we have Iron Outlaw taking on Grandma Gravedigger. And Grandma Gravedigger hit it first, and he is going to get the huge upset win over Iron Outlaw. Next up, we have Sparkle Smash taking on the Nitro Neon's Max D. And it looks like Max D is going to hit it first, just barely. Even if you don't believe me, you can go back and watch it for yourselves and slow down the playback speed. But Max D hit it first, so he will take the win. Next up, we have Raisin Cane taking on the debuting The Joker. And Raisin Cane flips over, and the Joker is easily going to take the win over Raisin Cane. Next up, we have the Creature Son of a Digger taking on the World Finals 16 Bounty Hunter. And it looks like Bounty Hunter is going to take the win over the Creature Son of a Digger. Next up, we have another debuting truck, which is Full Charge taking on the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid. And Full Charge has a terrible run. I don't know what happened to Full Charge, but that's going to give the win to the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid. Next up, we have Cyclops taking on Stone Crusher. And Cyclops flips over. I don't know what it is with this lane so far in this sign-up series. They're flipping over so much, but that's going to give the win to Stone Crusher. Next up, we have Backwards Bob taking on the Fire Pirate's Curse. And Backwards Bob is going to take the win over the Fire Pirate's Curse. Next up, we have another debuting truck with Calavera taking on the Fire and Ice Gravedigger. And Calavera flips over again. I don't know what it is with that lane, but that's going to give the win to the Fire and Ice Gravedigger. Next up, we have Purple Jester taking on the debuting World Finals 20 Avenger. And this time it is going to go to Avenger. For once, the truck didn't flip over. Next up, we have the Overcast Gravedigger taking on another debuting truck, the Ride Truck El Toro Loco. And it looks like it's going to go to the Overcast Gravedigger. Next up, we have the Power Beast Dragon taking on the Ice Monster Mutt. And Dragon flips over, and that's going to give the win to Monster Mutt. Next up, we have the debuting Boneyard Son of a Digger taking on Georgia. And Son of a Digger flips over. That's going to give the win to Georgia. Next up, we have Batman taking on the Training Trucks Earthshaker. And it's going to be the Training Trucks Earthshaker. What a surprise. Next up, we have the Hunter Soldier Fortune taking on the Ride Truck BKT. And Soldier Fortune flips over. That's going to give the win to BKT. Next up, we have the Zombie El Toro Loco taking on the 5-pack exclusive Fire Zombie. And no trucks flip over this time, but Fire Zombie is going to block the Zombie El Toro Loco for the win. Next up, we have the Inverse Brodozer taking on the Ice Blue Thunder. And Blue Thunder's going to take the win. He hit the line first. Next up, we have Freebird taking on Time Flies. And it looks like Time Flies is going to defeat Freebird. Next up, we have Stinger Unleashed taking on the Zombie Monster Mutt Rottweiler. And Stinger Unleashed is going to take the win. Next up, we have Racing Stripes taking on the final debuting truck, Thunder 4x4. And Racing Stripes flips over. Again, I have no idea what's wrong with that lane. That's never happened before. I mean, maybe it's just coincidental. I don't know, but it's been happening quite a lot. But nonetheless, that's going to give the win to Thunder 4x4. Next up, we have the final race of round number 1 until the Fast Loser race, which is going to be a Fire and Ice battle. We have Fire Gravedigger taking on Yeti. And ooh, I don't know who hit it first. Let me go back and take a look at the clip. Alright, so taking a look back at the clip, that was extremely close, as you guys could tell, but just barely. The Fire Gravedigger did hit the line first. If you guys don't believe me, you can go back and watch the race for yourselves and slow down the speed of the video, but Gravedigger, just by, like, a fraction of a second, hit the line before Yeti. So Fire Gravedigger will take the win. Now let's see who's going to be in the Fast Loser race. Alright, so here's a look at all of the trucks that are in round number 2. There's a total of 43 trucks, and as you can see, we need a Fast Loser to see who's going to take on the Fire Gravedigger. So here are the 2 trucks that I have chosen. We have Ride Truck El Toro Loco taking on the Zombie Blue Thunder. Let's see who's going to be your Fast Loser. It is going to be Ride Truck El Toro Loco with a block. So now it is officially time for round number 2. Here's a look at all of the races. Now, like I said before, there was 43 trucks, but now there is 44. So we will not need a Fast Loser in this round because 44 will go down to 22. So without further ado, we're going to kick things off with the Nitro Neon's Jurassic Attack taking on Scooby-Doo. So round number 2 is underway. And the first win is going to go to Scooby-Doo. Next up, we have Zombie Monster Mutt taking on the Training Truck Zombie. And Zombie just barely hit the line first, so he will take the win over the Zombie Monster Mutt. Next up, we have the Elemental Dragon taking on the Ride Truck Gravedigger. And Ride Truck Gravedigger is going to defeat the debuting Elemental Dragon. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Poodle taking on another debuting truck, Maximum Destruction. And sorry for that stutter there, but Maximum Destruction is going to take the win. Monster Mutt Poodle had it, but I guess sometimes Slow and Steady does indeed win the race because Maximum Destruction was going pretty slow, but he's going to take the win. Next up, we have the Red Crustacean taking on the Fire Max D. And Fire Max D hit the line first, so he will take the win. Next up, we have Jurassic Attack taking on Superman. And Superman has a terrible run. That is going to give the win to Jurassic Attack. Next up, we have the Ice Octonator taking on the Inverse Alien Invasion. And Octonator is going to block Alien Invasion, and he ends up flipping over. But either way, he will still take the win. Next up, we have Mohawk Warrior Vampire taking on Soldier Fortune. And it looks like Mohawk Warrior Vampire is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Overcast Max D taking on the Fire Whiplash. And Fire Whiplash is going to take the win over the Overcast Max D. Next up, we have the Ice Monster Mutt Dalmatian taking on Nomad Avenger. And Avenger is going to take the upset win over the Ice Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Next up, we have the Reckless El Toro Loco taking on the debuting Inverse Northern Nightmare. And Reckless El Toro Loco is going to edge out the Inverse Northern Nightmare. Next up, we have Monster Mutt Dalmatian taking on the Grandma Gravedigger. And, ooh, I don't know who hit it first. Let me go back and take a look at the clip. Alright, so looking back at the clip, this was so close. I think this was even closer than the Fire Gravedigger and Yeti race, but if you look closely enough, just barely by the smallest fraction of a second, you can tell that Grandma Gravedigger did take the win. I'm sorry if you disagree with the call. It was super close. That was actually a tough call to make. I was pretty close to actually rerunning it, but I think if you look closely enough, you can tell that Grandma Gravedigger did hit it first, so he is going to eliminate Monster Mutt Dalmatian. Next up, we have Nitro Neon's Max D taking on the Joker. And the Joker is going to take the win. Next up, we have the World Finals 16 Bounty Hunter taking on the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid. And Gold Bakugan Dragonoid is going to take the win. Next up, we have Stone Crusher taking on Backwards Bob. And Backwards Bob is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Fire and Ice Gravedigger taking on the World Finals 20 Avenger. And Gravedigger went way over there. I don't know what he's doing, but I mean, he did run into the NASCARs over there. As you can see, he ran into Austin Dillon, but those cars are so far off to the side. I'm just going to count it anyways. I apologize if you disagree with that call, but I'm going to give it to Avenger. Next up, we have the Overcast Gravedigger taking on the Ice Monster Mutt. And Ice Monster Mutt is going to take the win. I don't know what it is with the Gravediggers and hitting the NASCARs, but that one wasn't as bad as the Fire and Ice. But anyways, Ice Monster Mutt takes the win. Next up, we have Georgia taking on the Training Trucks Earthshaker. And Georgia hit the line first. And Georgia's going to take the upset win over the Training Trucks Earthshaker. Next up, we have the Ride Truck BKT taking on the 5-pack exclusive Fire Zombie. And that is going to be a very close race. Oh man, let's see if we go straight down. Oh, that is tough to make, but the arms of Zombie and the tire of BKT look like they're about even. I don't know, man. That's just too close to call. I'm going to rerun. So we have switched up the lanes, and here goes the rerun. And this time it is going to be BKT. Next up, we have the Ice Blue Thunder taking on Time Flies. And it looks like Time Flies is going to take the win over the Ice Blue Thunder. Next up, we have Stinger Unleashed taking on Thunder 4x4. And Stinger Unleashed is going to annihilate Thunder 4x4. Next up, we have the final race of round number 2, which is going to be between the Fire Gravedigger and the Ride Truck El Toro Loco. And Fire Gravedigger flips over. That's going to give the win to the Ride Truck El Toro Loco. Alright, so here's a look at all of the races for round number 3. There's a total of 22 trucks, so we will have a fast loser because 22 would go down to 11, and that is an odd number, so we will have a fast loser race to make it 12. And without further ado, we're going to kick things off with Scooby-Doo taking on the Training Truck Zombie. So round number 3 is underway. And the first winner is going to be the Training Truck Zombie. Well, here's a classic race. We have the Ride Truck Gravedigger taking on Maximum Destruction. And Maximum Destruction pulls off another upset. This time he actually had a good run. He hits the laptop, but if you look right here, Gravedigger did not hit the cars. So Maximum Destruction is going to take the win. Next up, we have the Fire Max D taking on Jurassic Attack. And Fire Max D is going to block Jurassic Attack for the win. Next up, we have the Ice Octonator taking on the Mohawk Warrior Vampire. And Ice Octonator is going to take the win. Next up, we have Fire Whiplash taking on Nomad Avenger. And it's going to be Nomad Avenger. Next up, we have Reckless El Toro Loco taking on Grandma Gravedigger. And it's going to be, I think it's Reckless El Toro Loco. Yes, it is. He's going to take the win over the Grandma Gravedigger. Next up, we have the Joker taking on the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid. And it's going to be the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid. Next up, we have Backwards Bob taking on the World Finals 20 Avenger. And World Finals 20 Avenger is going to defeat Backwards Bob. Next up, we have Ice Monster Mutt taking on Georgia. And Georgia's going to take the win. Next up, we have the Ride Truck BKT taking on Time Flies. And BKT is going to edge out Time Flies. Next up, we have the final race of round number 3 until the fast loser race. And it's going to be between Stinger Unleashed and the Ride Truck El Toro Loco. And, oh, Stinger blocked him. And that is super close. But if we go straight down, just barely, it's going to be Stinger Unleashed. Alright, so here's a look at the 11 trucks that have moved on to round number 4. But we need a fast loser to see who's going to take on Stinger Unleashed. And here are the 2 trucks that I have selected. We have the Ride Truck Gravedigger taking on the Joker. And it's going to be the Ride Truck Gravedigger. So now it is time for round number 4. We are down to 12 trucks, so after this round we will go down to 6. And that is when I will go over the field of trucks, and there will be no fast loser because 12 goes evenly down to 6. So we're going to kick things off with the Training Truck Zombie taking on Maximum Destruction. So round number 4 is underway. And Maximum Destruction hit it first, and he's going to get the huge upset win. First, he defeats the Ride Truck Gravedigger, and now he defeats the Training Truck Zombie. Next up, we have a Fire and Ice battle between Fire Max D and Ice Octonator. And Max D rolls over, and that is going to give the win to the Ice Octonator. Next up, we have Nomad Avenger taking on the Reckless El Toro Loco. And Nomad Avenger has a terrible run, and that's going to give the win to the Reckless El Toro Loco. Next up, we have the Gold Bakugan Dragonoid taking on the World Finals 20 Avenger. And what a race down to the end. And it looks like it's going to go to the World Finals 20 Avenger. Next up, we have Georgia taking on the Ride Truck BKT. And Ride Truck BKT is going to block Georgia for the win. I know Georgia was Monster Jam Dallas, and he was in the same truck last sign-up series when he also lost to a block. That was in the semifinals. This time it was in the final 12, I believe. But still, another tough loss for Monster Jam Dallas, but BKT is going to get it. Next up, we have the final race of round number 4, which is going to be between Stinger Unleashed and the Ride Truck Gravedigger. And, ooh, I don't know who hit it first. Let me go back and take a look. Alright, so looking back at the clip, and as you guys could see in that slow motion replay, that was another very, very close race, but just barely. Stinger Unleashed did take the win. Like I said, that was so close, but unfortunately, the Ride Truck Gravedigger has been eliminated. I mean, he already had a chance to come back as a fast loser anyways, but still a tough loss for the Ride Truck Gravedigger, but Stinger Unleashed is moving on to round number 5. And now it is time for round number 5 of sign-up series number 206. So we are down to just 6 trucks. So without further ado, let's go over the field of trucks. So inside of the debuting Maximum Destruction, we have Josh Healy. Inside of the Ice Octanator, we have Victor Jones 16. Inside of the Reckless El Toro Loco, we have Monster Jam Cody. Inside of the debuting World Finals 20 Avenger, we have Lord Kirby. Inside of the Ride Truck BKT, we have Blakester Miniman, and inside of Stinger Unleashed, we have Anthony Yost. So how this is going to work, because obviously 6 trucks would go down to 3, and that is an uneven number. So out of the 3 trucks that lose, the 2 trucks that have the best run will face off in the fast loser race to see who will get the final spot in the semifinals. So only one of these trucks here is not going to have a chance to race at least a second time after this. So anyways, without further ado, we're going to kick things off with Maximum Destruction taking on the Ice Octanator. So who is going to be the first person to advance to the semifinals? Is it going to be Maximum Destruction or Ice Octanator? It is going to be Ice Octanator. He did hit it first, but Maximum Destruction is going to have a good chance at being in the fast loser because he hit the line, but Octanator still hit it first. Alright, next up we have the Reckless El Toro Loco taking on the World Finals 20 Avenger. And it's going to be Reckless El Toro Loco. I don't know if that's going to be enough for Avenger to be in the fast loser. It's going to all depend on where the loser of this race goes. Who is going to be the final person to advance to the semifinals before the fast loser race? Is it going to be the Ride Truck BKT or Stinger Unleashed? It is going to be Stinger Unleashed, but I think there's no question that BKT did have a better run than the World Finals 20 Avenger. Alright, so here's a look at the 3 trucks that have advanced to the semifinals, but I pretty much already said what the fast loser race was going to be. Unfortunately, out of the 3 losers, World Finals 20 Avenger did have the worst run. I mean, it wasn't a terrible run, but when you get down to these stages in the sign-up series, round 5, you have to do really, really good, and unfortunately his run was just not enough. So Lord Kirby has officially been eliminated. Better luck next time, man. But here is your fast loser race. The final debuting truck, Maximum Destruction, is taking on the Ride Truck BKT. Let's see who's going to go to the semifinals. It's going to be Ride Truck BKT, and we will not have a debuting truck to win. So sorry to Maximum Destruction. I believe the driver was Josh Healy, so sorry, man. Better luck in sign-up series 207 to you, bro, and maybe you can finally get your first ever win. But Ride Truck BKT is in the semifinals. And now we are down to the semifinals of Monster Jam Sign-Up Series number 206. Now, before I announce the field of trucks, I just gotta say, this is a very interesting semifinals. None of these trucks have ever won before, so we are going to have a new truck to win. But 2 of these drivers have won, though, so we'll get to that in a moment after I go over the field of trucks. So without further ado, let's do that. So inside of the Ice Octanator, we have Victor Jones 16. Inside of the Reckless El Toro Loco, we have Monster Jam Cody. Inside of Stinger Unleashed, we have Anthony Yost. And inside of the Ride Truck BKT, we have Blakester Miniman. So the two people here that have won before is Victor Jones 16 and Octanator. He won Series 141 in Black Stallion New Tool and 192 in Hissy Fit. So he is a two-time champion, and Victor Jones is looking for 3. And then the other winner out of these 4 is Blakester Miniman. He's in BKT, and he did win Series 185 in Iron Outlaw. So just about 21 sign-up series ago, he won an Iron Outlaw, so he's looking for his second win. And then Monster Jam Cody and El Toro Loco and Anthony Yost and Stinger Unleashed are looking for their first ever wins. So without further ado, let's see who's going to go to the championship race. Is it going to be Victor Jones 16 and the Ice Octanator, or will it be the Monster Jam Cody and Reckless El Toro Loco? So who's going to go to the championship race? Is it going to be Victor Jones 16 or Monster Jam Cody? It is going to be Monster Jam Cody and the Reckless El Toro Loco. He did hit the line first. So sorry to Victor Jones 16 and the Ice Octanator. It's been a while since you won last, and you almost just got your 3rd ever win, but better luck in sign-up series 207 to you, bro. But Reckless El Toro Loco and Monster Jam Cody is in the championship race. Next up, we have Anthony Yost and Stinger Unleashed taking on Blakester Miniman and BKT. So if Stinger can win this race, we are guaranteed to have a new championship truck and driver. But if Blakester Miniman and BKT can win this race, he still has a chance to get his 2nd ever win. Let's see who's going to join Monster Jam Cody and Reckless El Toro Loco in the championship race. It is going to be Ride Truck BKT with a come-from-behind win. What a race. And Blakester Miniman and BKT is moving on to the championship race. I am so sorry to Anthony Yost and Stinger Unleashed. Anthony Yost has been signing up for my sign-up series for a long time now, and unfortunately you have been eliminated in the semifinals. That sucks, man, but better luck in sign-up series 207 to you. And now we are down to the championship race of Monster Jam sign-up series number 206. So inside of the Reckless El Toro Loco, we have Monster Jam Cody. So that truck and driver have never won before, so we could have a new championship truck and driver. But Ride Truck BKT has also never won, but it's being driven by one-time champion Blakester Miniman. He is looking for his 2nd ever win, so let's find out who's going to get it. Your winner of Monster Jam sign-up series number 206 is going to be none other than, I think it was BKT, maybe? Let me go take a look. Alright, so looking back at the clip, you guys could even see it for yourselves in that slow motion replay. It was super close, but you could tell that the winner was Ride Truck BKT and Blakester Miniman. Congratulations, man. You have won for your 2nd time on my sign-up series. Like I said before, your last win was in Series 185 in Iron Outlaw, and now you have won in the Ride Truck BKT, and you are now a 2-time champion on my channel, so congratulations, man. And as for the Reckless El Toro Loco, Monster Jam Cody, you were so close to getting your 1st ever win, man. I thought you had it, but you just barely lost. That's a tough way to lose. That was so close. I feel really bad for having to make that call, but I think it was pretty obvious enough with that slow motion replay that BKT won. So sorry to Monster Jam Cody, but maybe you can keep up the momentum and get your 1st ever win in sign-up series 207. But anyways, guys, congratulations one last time to Blakester Miniman and the Ride Truck BKT for winning. And that's pretty much it for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching. Also, another thing I forgot to mention earlier in this video is just the other day, I finally hit 2,500 subscribers, so I just want to take a moment to say thank you guys so much for 2,500 subscribers, and I am now on the road to 2,600, so if you guys are new to my channel, make sure you guys subscribe, and then as always, leave a like on the video, comment anything you guys want to down in the comments below, turn on post notifications, and I will see you guys next time.